Sir, we welcome you to the program, and I now request our CEO, Sir Das Sir, to please give a welcome address.
Thank you, Ravita. Welcome all the participants of MP batch. Right. So this is one of the series of the Leader Speak series, where we bring the leaders from the industry. You have heard the profile of the MD and CEO of TMB. Right, it is a varied profile, working from public sector bank, private sector bank, and he has seen the upheavals in the banking industry. So the topic he has chosen today, perhaps it is the most apt topic for all of us, the digital transformation for banks. Right? So if you see in the heart of any transformation strategy, there is customer, particularly for the banks. Right. So over a period of time, what has happened, if you see, the customers have become more demanding, customers have become more discerning, customers have become more educated, more expectations are coming from the customers, and last but not the least, they are more comfortable with the digital channels of the banking. Taking advantage of that, it is not only the banks, the fintech companies are also entering into this arena. Right. There is a fierce competition in the market. So all the three key areas of banking, be it product, be it process, or be it delivery, all have been transformed tremendously over a period of time. If you see, and going forward also in the next decade, there will be still more transformative activities which we will see. So two aspects here. One is the customers are changing, whether we are able to change as the bankers, whether our technology is able to change. So all these things, the intricacies of this thing, today we will hear from the leader himself, how he is carrying on all these changes and implementing in the bank, and what will be the suggestion for all of us going forward. In fact, in IIBF also, we are also grappling with this transformation. How to change our courseware, how to adapt to the new technology, how to develop the delivery channels with AI, how to evaluate the performances when we are having this online mode of teaching. How do we evaluate the performance, whether they are actually involved or not, how we keep on involving the people in various modes. So, but thank you, sir. Thank you, MD sir. It is our privilege, a pleasure and privilege to have you. And we will also eager to listen to your experience and the transformative journey which you had personally as well as in your professional life. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, CEO sir, and then thank you, Ravita ma'am, and then participants. As I was informally chatting with the CEO, saying that despite the fact that I had doubts about addressing you all about this particular topic, I have chosen to be there with you all today to become more wiser at the end of the session, number one. Number two, they feel little more younger, in fact, after having completed 41 years of banking in 4 banks, I think in the almost nook and corner of the country, as well as overseas for a brief period of 6 years period. I just go back to when I talk about this digitalization, I only feel that maybe the way I have started banking, from the agriculture officer to normal branch manager and then to regional manager. And then what is that it is changing? One thing is sure that, but for the change, everything is, I think, irrelevant today. If at all we need to be relevant, we need to be ready to change for our sake. And what is the difference between change and the transformation? People say, no, everybody has to change for that matter. The dinosaurs, I think only fossils are left in the world today because they fail to change. And the latest example for youngsters like some of you guys is that Nokia is the company. Almost 20 years back or 15 years back, the most predominant telephone brand was only Nokia. Where is today? In the pocket of Microsoft. Reason is simple. They failed to identify the need to change, and then they had the arrogance or audacity not to change. And then when we talk about the change and the transformation, change is little more gradual, whereas transformation is more holistic and is more disruptive. And banking is concerned, these changes, who has brought in those changes? I would like to say that It is the customer who is driving the change now. It is the customer who is asking everybody to transform themselves. If the customer was to be, I think, so static about his own expectations from the industry, then banking industry would not have changed from manual ledger keeping to bookkeeping to, I think, magnetic media of, I think, taking things to automatic ledger posting machines, from there to CBS, from there to alternate delivery channels, and then today mobile banking, internet banking. That's not sufficient today. As our CEO was mentioning, it is not sufficient with these changes alone. What is going to be constant is the changes are going to be constant. Customers' expectations are going to be constant. So when the topic was given to me, I think the topic itself was saying that transformation for banks. I said I differed slightly. The transformation is not for banks. It is for the sake of customers, in fact. Transformation in banking for the customers. Reason is simple. If I want to be relevant, I need to change. Not only to change is gradual, whereas transformation is a little more holistic. And at the end of the day, the difference I was trying to understand, what is the difference between change and transformation? It is better we understand this minor difference. Change is, the resultant is almost familiar. We'll be working against specific areas of improvement in change management. Whereas in transformation, at the end of it, more holistic, it will more disruptive. And at the end of the day, we will not be knowing what are all those going to be there remaining, what are all there will be left, which will not be changing. From that count, if you look at today, the transformation which we are seeing in the industry, it is all driven by customers. Maybe the strong reason is that technology has brought in those changes, isn't it? At this point of time, welcome you, all of you, and then to keep active, and then at the end of the day, reserve all your doubts and questions so that make me a little more wiser at that point of time. So, and what is constant? I think if at all at this point of time, I thought that since for 41 years I have been slogging in this industry, what has been the constant thing? Everything else has changed. Trust me, my dear friends. But one thing has not changed. I continue to call banking as business. When I say business, business is for profit. And the third angle of this enterprise is growth is the essence of life. If I want to call myself as a live organization, live in the system, I need to believe that growth is the essence of life. If I stop growing for 1 or 2 years, it's fine. Stagnating for a couple of years is fine. But if I stop growing permanently, that's an end of my organization. So we need to believe that banking is business. Business is for profit. At the end of the day, growth is the essence of life. With all these things have not changed during the 41 years at least. I don't know, they have not changed since the inception of banking. Third angle is that customer importance or customer centricity has not changed. It may be very right at this point of time. Maybe some few public sector guys are there, private sector players are there, and I am there. I have learned the very definition of customer very late in my life. When I was working as a regional manager in Panchmahal, I think I went to the railway station. In the railway station, it was written. The definition was something like this. I think I thought that it is more worthwhile to remember that, and then at the back of my mind, I need to keep it everything. Whatever I need to do in the organization, especially in a service organization like ours, I think we should not forget what Mahatma Gandhi told about the customer. The customer is the most important visitor in our premises, whether it is physical or virtual. Today, I am adding virtual. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption to our work. He is the purpose of it, in fact, purpose of our existence. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. In fact, he is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to serve. So whatever we are trying to do today, it is all driven by customer. The anxiety of the industry or banking industry is to, if at all we are changing very fast to keep in pace with the changing expectations of the customer, it is only our anxiety to be more relevant. That is what it is making us drive for these changes. I think I am able to make some sense at this point of time. Remember, why at all this digital transformation is required? One is that advent of internet into the world has changed. advent of mobile has changed. The way we have been living has changed. You know for sure that 10 years, 15 years before, the way people lived, they are not living the same life today. Isn't it? And the internet, it is no longer a very costly affair. It is available at affordable levels, in fact. That makes life easy and at times complicated as well. And then, thankfully, these changes were happening gradually. But as far as banking sector is concerned, I know for sure that this Jan Dhan Yojana of central government, that made a big impact on the entire industry. And the need for mass class banking to mass banking was demonstrated well after nationalization days also. With all these things, no, at this some point of time, this demonetization has a very, very powerful impact on the entire industry. From those days, I was living in Calcutta in United Bank of India. I think that the 15 days after demonetization was introduced, I was able to see the QR code based acceptance of 15-20 rupees by fish vendors straight away in the gullies of Calcutta. That is the change. Customers are so adapt to change themselves. Who are all the laggards means it is only the industry. Because we would like to take a wait and watch game. It's not easy to change the organizations overnight. It is not easy to build upon the requisite logistics overnight. And we will wait that till the customer demands, till the customer leaves us. Or there will be some trendsetters in the industry who will be taking the lead and they will be driving those changes in the past. Today, they are not trendsetters. They are new organizations who have come and stayed, and they are almost breathing very close to our neck. If we don't change, they are going to make us more irrelevant in today's context. So at the end of the day, it is the technology enabled enhanced expectations from the customer, which is making the industry change or dance to the tunes of the changing expectations of the customer. Some of the things which it's easy to also recollect at this point of time. COVID is one more thing which has brought in the best of the other side of living in a bit different way. If at all today we are meeting, I am joining you from a small center in Tuticorin in Tamilnad with you all people. Thanks to again technology, and also COVID. COVID has made what is the virtual life like, virtual world is like, virtual connect is like. Without the things would have been very difficult for all of us, in fact. And then one more thing is that this particular payment systems, the way UPI is disrupting the whole world today, the way Paytm has created a niche name for themselves in the organization. And then you go to any shop today, they say you pay through phone pay. This is a demand, in fact, demand from the customers, in fact. They don't accept a credit challan or debit challan and then check and all those things. It's gone out those days. They are practically looking at the customer who is ready to offer as a even debit card, almost most of the customers feel that I think it is something like which is an unwarranted thing, in fact. Even if some debit cards, credit cards need to be used, they need to be contactless cards. COVID has made us this different way to live, in fact. And not only banking, but also the education, if you look at the way education system has changed during COVID times. Everybody is on a virtual mode today. Kids are all, I think the UKG, LKG students are also studying online. I think we need to learn a lot of things. Their adaptability is much more faster when compared to all of us, in fact. And then the way you order for food, or you have your breakfast, lunch, most of the times we don't feel very comfortable having a cooked food at home. We usually prefer to have Swiggy, Zomato, and all those things. Within 15 minutes of order, you are able to track what is happening to our order, even if it is 50 rupees order. So it has become affordable, it is easy, and absolutely it's making a whole difference to the way we have been living. And one more thing is entertainment. Entertainment is again one thing. We never go to movies nowadays, I don't know, most of us who are in this platform also, we are all getting used to this OTT way of making ourselves abreast with the latest entertainment channels, isn't it? TV is again a gone culture, isn't it? Everything is available on telephone only, mobile phone only, smartphone only, isn't it? Even if you are traveling, you are able to watch a movie. Even if you are traveling in a flight for 2 hours, somebody is able to complete a movie, in fact. This is the way people have started change themselves. So banking is one such sector which cannot be left lurching in darkness in the previous world as such. And then the way we have been purchasing, this is again one more area. The shopping is done today, online shopping, Amazon. Everywhere disruption. These changes have not come gradually. These changes have come like tsunami. Tsunami has changed the whole world from 2006, isn't it? Some of the areas, some of the places who have seen, where the places which have witnessed the tsunami, I think they are in a different world today. I think you cannot expect the same back again. Like this, these changes after demonetization, after this particular COVID, after this advent of technology which has become affordable, and this people call it as a JAM, no? Jan Dhan Aadhaar enabled systems, and then mobile. This JAM has made a whole world of difference to everybody for that matter. And we are all conventional players. Even I represent a couple of banks which are more than 100-year-old. And this bank where I am staying here today, Tamilnad Mercantile Bank, is 1921 is the origin of the bank. 100-year-old organization. But I cannot say that, and most of my customers, average age group of my customers must be around 45 to 50. But who is the chunk of the customer who is really propelling the economy? It is the younger lot, less than 35. Despite the fact that Tamilnad Mercantile Bank average age is 34, 35, my average age of my customers is 45. I think that is the moment if I need to bring down the average age of my customer, I need to embrace, adapt the technology very aggressively. Yeah, bank has been doing it. I don't say that. Even a state bank like State Bank of India, with 22,000 branches and 64,000 ATM, I think alternate delivery channels, they are finding it difficult to face the competition from organizations like Paytm, isn't it? Paytm, whether it is revenue, net revenue, or at least their profitability, I cannot comparison at this point of time because the number of years these organizations have been there. I think this is a different world as such. But all these changes, what I'm trying to say is, it is all customer-decided changes. Customer has, I think, told us, if you are not going to change, I am not going to be there with you. The YONO application of State Bank of India, whether it is Bank of Baroda 4-click loan application today, whether it is Punjab National Bank 4 applications loan, giving loan is not one such thing. You cannot expect today an application to be given in a physical form and then wait for the customer with the folded hands when you will be sanctioning a facility. Everything is, data is available, information is available. Even today, MSME loans are to be sanctioned, at least in principle sanction has to be done by online sanctions. If we are not capable of doing that, maybe we will be irrelevant at some point of time. We may stay there for some time, but our growth is going to be decided more on that. But in this context, yes, more and more newer players, neo players are getting into the system. More and more fintech companies are coming into the system. But at this point of time, banks need to embrace the technology, even to piggyback on some of the fintech companies for making the things easier for the customer as well as the bankers. But the challenge is there to make a lot of due diligence about the ability of these fintech companies also. Otherwise, landing ourselves with the wrong hands at any point of time, it will result a lot of issues. So, friends, at this point of time, the exponential technology changes are also making things, life easy for customers, miserable for bankers. This is what I would like to use it. Miserable for bankers means usually anybody for that matter, we are not very easy to accept the change and move forward very fast. We are always apprehensive of what is going to happen if we change the way we used to live. But nothing is going to change at some point of time. If we are not going to change anything, we may not be there in the system. Time and again, we all need to believe that we should not become Nokia, we should not become dinosaurs, and embracing change has become a compulsory order of the day. And who are all the guys who are disrupting? As I told you already, Paytm is already started disrupting the entire system. And then, yes, I told you, the Google Pay, Phone Pay, and Paytm accounted for 94.8% of UPI transactions volume and 93% of value, which says that volumes about that these neo fintech players are new players in the system. And all these changes have come as a keeping the customer at the center. In fact, as your CEO was already making, whatever we have been doing, we have been doing everything, keeping the customer at the center, in fact. When we try to keep the customer at the center, what is happening to the competition? If you look at who are all coming, all new players are coming. Fintech player revolution is there, neobanks are coming, and open bankings are there. And then even those guys who are traders, they are making with the option, coming out with the option of BNPL, buy now, pay later. In a way, they are also doing banking. It may be very uncomfortable in sanctioning a clean loan facility to a good number of people, but at the end of the day, with some due diligence which they make, and then with the scorecard of this civil scorecard, and then artificial intelligence based, they are able to arrive at some decisions, and then you buy now and then pay later. This is what the risk somebody is taking across. With the confidence level with which people are offering these services is making really revelation in the system as such. And then the regulators are also not caught free of these particular disruptive changes. They are also talking in terms of including regulatory sandboxes for piloting new innovations. I think central banks digital currency is one such mode. And then this blockchain technology has come to stay, and the central banks are more and more thinking in terms of using them in the future, their regulatory works as well. And at the end of the day, industry players who are all coming, API banking-led openness has created so many digital products and so many digital-based players in the system. And then platform businesses disrupting solo organizations. This is what it is like. Based on aggregators are in the system, and account aggregators are there in the player, and the cross-selling of products across the organizations, it's all happening. At the end of the day, these changes are all enabled by artificial intelligence, machine learning tools, process automation, and cloud technology adoptions. If at all IT companies are talking about the increase in their top line, they are talking about these 3-4 areas and say that there is a possibility of increasing their top line when they focus on these 4-5 areas. And something like at this point of time, I thought that since we are all dealing with bankers, which are all the areas where the reimagined customer journeys have been happening of late. One is the alternate delivery channels, ATMs, digital banking units, and all those things have gone case now. I think we need to really find alternative uses of using our ATM systems. I've been very passionate about this, using this word very liberally in the past also. Unless we find alternative uses of our existing ATMs, I think we will not be relevant in today's context. And customer onboarding has to happen seamlessly on 24/7 basis on online, offline mode. And then paperless banking has to come. And KYC also, or video KYC has to happen on a real-time basis. And so it is all happening across the industry that within 5 minutes, a new customer onboarding is happening. Technology has enabled that. Most of the banks have built in their capabilities now. And then personal finance management is one such thing. I think a lot of 360-degree view of the customer is being taken on online mode. And then using artificial intelligence, people are in a position to offer different products. And when I say our products, it's no longer this online banking is restricted only for liability products. Absolutely, take it from me. If you are not in a position to sanction this, at least digital-based lending for retail and some MSME, where at least scheme-based lending, we may not be really making headway to the desired extent for future. And then today, our checks and balances are available, in fact. GST information is available for, I think, giving some turnover-based facilities to our MSME borrowers as such. And then individual-based, the CIBIL score and other scorecard-based sanctions can always be made available, in fact. And the digital signature has become to stay as a mode of executing documents as such. Everything can happen online today. Borrower need not visit. My parent bank is making a loud announcement saying that he's telling his dad that without visiting, he has listened to the words of his dad, and then without visiting Bank of Baroda branch, he could get some facility sanction, car loan sanction. This is the latest advertisement says. It's a reality, in fact. And customer service also, new modes of getting in. Chatbots are being used, conversational AIs are happening, and omnichannel servicing is happening. And then data analytics through even social media listening, sentiment analysis, hyper-personal offers, hyper-local promotions. All these things have come to stay. And with all these things, is it sufficient to say that digital banking has come to stay? Yes, it has come to stay. But still, I would like to say that it is still evolving. What does this digital transformation mean to banks for that matter? It means we need to be, if we want to be relevant today, continued relevancy, we need to be adapting to this digital transformation. And if we want to be responsive to the customers in an increased effective manner, I think we need to adapt this change. And this transformation again will ensure that improved customer engagements will always happen in offline, online mode, in fact. And then our resources, which are getting costlier and costlier, what I mean is it's human resources. I think the better resource management is possible with embracing this technology, digital technology. And a faster time to market. We don't have to wait for reaching out the customer physically. We can reach them online on a real-time basis, any point of time. And then at the appropriate time, we should be able to make our efforts to market the products. At the end of the day, all these things put together, it will make banking more efficient and more productive. Naturally, all these things will result into more revenue. When I say this more revenue, I recall my old first statement, banking is business, business is for profit. Absolutely, this revenue and then increased margins will definitely give way for making more meaningful definition for that original definition of banking. And at the end of the day, more resilience way of building up the systems has to be happen. Because when I say online, it is easy, it is 24/7, it is available everywhere. It comes with inherent risks also. Cyber security related, unless we have built up our checks and balances very effectively, robust cyber security networks which we build up, it will be too difficult for us to engage the customers when the damage is happening. And it is very difficult to get back the customer's confidence once some trust element is lost here. And then at the end of the day, it will make the banking more agile. And at this point of time, it will enable the banking sector for open to many more innovations on a continuous basis. This is what I have. And maybe very relevant at this point of time, in 1994 also when I started with Mahatma Gandhi's definition of customer, I'll end quoting Bill Gates' one statement. Banking may be all pervasive, it may be everywhere. Everybody will be doing banking, but real banks may not be required. Banking may be required, banks may not be needed. That's what the statement he made. What he meant was banking everybody can do, and through every mode we can do it, but physical structures may not be relevant. They may be redundant at some point of time, at least for most chunk of the customers. Customers, in fact. So these are all challenges we have. And when I say this digital transformation is a journey. Transformation is a journey. We need to enjoy this journey. We need to learn. This journey becomes more exciting, both for the customers as well as for bankers. And faster we adapt, faster we are mentally prepared to bring in those changes which are required by the customer. I think we'll be living up to the enhancing expectations of the customers. I think this is what I have to say at this point of time. Maybe I ended up a little more early because I wanted to learn a lot from you guys. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, these bankers who are here with us, they must have also experienced this journey, the new customers. Okay. Now, what is happening slowly, that's as much as people needs bank, it is also vice versa. Banks need people. So private banks, fintech companies, what they do, they come out with value additions every year after year. So how it is happening? Whether we need banks or we need banking, that is the customers are asking now. Whether we need products or the solutions. So if we want to create solutions, no way, as you rightly said, we have to transform. Digital transform is the only way. If we don't need banks, we need banking, which will reach to the customers. Again, digital transformation. So rightly said, is a journey which is yet to reach somewhere, and we do not know in what form it will take going down another 3, 4, 5 years. So now the house is open. You can share some of your experiences.
Please. I'll be happy to learn from you.
And any question also,
Yeah.
which will also can be answered by either the MD or by one of your colleagues also.
It's a learning
Right.
platform as such. This platform which you have provided, IAB have provided, is a learning platform for everybody, for them, including me, including you. That's it. At the end of the day, I said, at the end of the session, I should become more wiser. In fact, I should be
Actually, sir,
left with the feeling that this session
you
has
will
made
be
me more
listening to the
wiser.
people who are working at the grassroots level. So
Yes.
more of the hearts will reach you.
True, true.
I have one question. Is that since our esteemed speaker today has been working in a lot of banks, you work with the public sector banks, as I can see from the profile. Just wanted to know your opinion on why is that the public sector banks or in general large banks not able to capture the technology that needs to be there, and then they follow the fintechs, and then in general this question is about PSU mostly, since you've been in the top echelons there. So why is that we are not able to find out a proper technology at a proper point of time, rather than waiting for the disruption to come and then finding out avenues? So why is it? What do you think is lagging in the system as such?
Yeah, I would like to address it is in a negative connotation first, because public sector banks per se, we are all having a laissez-faire attitude. I think who is our master? We are all public sector, means government of India is our owner. If you go to a private sector employee or a private sector government employee, what is that attitude which you will see? Chalta hai attitude. Usually that is the case. That is number one. Second is public sector banks per se, I think is a large organizations, large legacy issues. I am seeing this transformation from this, as I told you, from the manual to I think magnetic media to alternate delivery. Huge legacy issues, in fact, huge data. I think all those legacy issues we cannot overnight change. In fact, some of the banks, new gen banks, I think, who have come 15 years, 20 years back, they don't have the baggage of this information, baggage of the data. I think it is easy to transform them, isn't it? Maybe that is one reason. And then all those public sector banks are saddled with this CVO system, central vigilance systems, huge checks and balances. For everything, we need to have 3 quotations. And I think the decisions are most of the decisions are centralized. I think all these particular changes which we are talking about, these are all changes where at least decisions will be too centralized at the corporate level or at least at the board level. These decisions won't happen that way. That nimble-footedness was not there. And then third angle is that these changes have been till recently, these changes have been happening in a gradual way. They were not really disruptive. Disruption has really started after the advent of internet on one side, mobiles on the second side. 2015 onwards, the degree of this disruptions is really threatening us. Maybe the sense of urgency has not been brought in the public sector banks by and large in the past. But now, if you ask me, on the top of it, with all these things in place, when they were trying to embrace the technology, one more issue which is coming in the way of public sector banks is this merger-related issues. Take, for example, State Bank of India, with all 8 associate banks who are all remaining as islands of their own world, no? All of a sudden, within a couple of years, all those banks merged into State Bank of India. It becomes an ocean, no? It is easy to swim in a river or a lake or a pond, but it is not easy to swim in an ocean, isn't it? We need to admit the fact that larger the organization, the bigger will be the challenge. But I think these changes, whether it is a larger or smaller organization, everybody has to embrace these changes, and then nimble-footedness has to come if you want to survive in the system. Otherwise, we'll become dinosaurs or Nokias. That's it. That threat feeling only has to set in at the mind of everybody, including the MD and CEO to the last man in the organization. The moment all this sensitization happens, things will happen in the desired way, in fact. Yes, I know for sure a good number of reasons can be there, but at the end of the day, if the customer threatens to leave public sector banks and then go to private sector bank, all the public sector banks will change overnight. Because who is the customer? He is the breadwinner for the entire industry, isn't it? So we need to dance to the tunes of right customers, right tunes of the customer. All the tunes we don't have to dance, but right customers, we need to dance.
Yes,
I know it's
so
a
nicely
challenge,
put.
but I think we have been taking it across. Sir,
So,
any
so nicely put,
input from your side?
so nicely
Very
put. Actually,
more can't open because I'm no longer working for a private public sector bank.
no, right,
That's the luxury
right. I am from State Bank of India. When you told that, when I was there, when this merger happened also. And let me tell Mr. Tripathi and others, when the banks shifted from the manual system to the bank master, which is the back office system, sometime in 90s, right? At that stage also, not many of the employees were very tech savvy. So shifting them from the manual, the people who are very adept in balancing manually, they're not able to manage the system, right? Then the second stage happened when you moved to the core banking. That is a completely different mechanism. And think of 2 lakh people who need to be trained, right? So at one point of time, when State Bank offered VRS, can you imagine the number of people went for VRS? And because they're afraid of the technology, right? But the fact remains, if you see now, all the public sector banks, of course, very rightly said by the MD, merger has actually taken all these things maybe 1 or 2 years backward, because even State Bank has one advantage, it has the technology platform was almost same, right? But think of saying Allahabad Bank merging with another PSU, I think Andhra Bank merging. So the technology was different, the manpower was different, the culture was different. But having said that, wait for another 1 or 2 years, all the PSUs, you see how the Bank of Baroda has come up, how the UNO has come up, the technology investment each bank is embarking on, right? So they are recruiting also the right people. But the fact remains what the MD says, the disruption which has started by the startups, by the newer minds, they are not part of any organization, either the banks nor the thing. So the fintechs come up with the disruptions. These disruptions has to be embraced. Now there is no question of competition. Now the time has come for collaboration. The collaborative effort. Ultimate aim is the customer service. How we collaborate. So many banks, either you see HDFC, other banks, they are funding some of the startups, including State Bank. So they are funding the startups, and ultimately they are getting the benefit. That is how the things work, and going forward, that will also happen. Right.
Sir, I am Nitin Garg from Union Bank of India. I have one question. For us, all of us as employees, I think the biggest change we need to bring in ourselves is upskilling ourselves, which will help us to navigate this digital transformation. And as far as this upskilling is concerned, there are 2 things. One is soft skills and one is hard skills, that is domain knowledge or technical skills. So as we move forward, according to you, what type of skill will play a major role for all of us, in what proportion? Will soft skills be more important? In what proportion technical or domain knowledge will be more important as we all of us move ahead in our careers?
Yeah, I think at some point of time we need to understand. I was a banker from, as I told you, 41 years. I think when the IT companies were imparting soft skills to those guys who were working more with the machines, I was wondering in sitting in public sector banks saying that when soft skills are required more by the people who are working in branches handling customers and their expectations, if these guys are not imparted soft skills, only those people who are forced to work with only machines, if they are given soft skills, what is the fun in fact? That's the reason I think at some point of time, Bank of Baroda, I think some courses have started on these lines in fact. But to be honest with you, domain knowledge has to be there. At the end of the day, soft skills are also important. Which one, if you ask me, I think at the end of the day, if you continue to be a man who is driven by only head office and then you work in only administrative offices, your domain knowledge will be helpful. If you are very keen on going up the ladder, I think from scratches, I think where customer response you need to understand, you need to be sensitive to the customer's expectation. You need to have soft skills as well. You need to have the feeling of empathizing the customer's need and then trying up to living up to the expectations. All these things happen in fact. It is a better blend of both these skills, in fact. And maybe these two things only you said, domain knowledge as well as this one, but IT skills is one more area which is again breathing very close to the neck of everybody. You cannot say that earlier, I think even if my mobile was not working, telephone was not working, I have seen good number of people who used to call IT officers, sir, my mobile is not working, please look into that. Today, I think that is not the case. Even for a man with a 63-year-old, I try to get myself, my issues addressed with my mobile, no? Only thing is attitude. At the end of the day, more than anything else, it is a building up the right attitude for ourselves. Upskilling, absolutely. All round upskilling has to happen. If you want to go
Sir,
in.
Sahil Mittal this side.
Yeah.
And continuing on to Nitin sir's question is, see, from now onwards, the interaction will be mostly on digital platforms. Even with the invent of account aggregator model, normally all the documentation part will be signed digitally as well. Everything will be done digitally. So, I mean, coming on to this question, so what would, how can we even interact with the customers like we do in branches now? Right, with the advent of account aggregator model, everything would be digitally. The customer would pick up the loan of the least rate of interest offered by any bank, and then eventually select it and do the documentation part. And that's over. No way interaction between the customer and branch personnel is there. So how would this thing impact eventually?
The challenge is to understand the customer without even interacting with the help of technology. That is what it is. Whether at the end of the day, the interface will always be there, no? Whether you directly interact or not, the interface will be there. Software will be speaking with themselves.
Everything.
At the end of the day, you will be getting to know whether a sanction, system-based sanction, whether it is availed or not. I think you will come to know. If he has not availed in reasonable time, I think you need to cross-check what is happening to that request which has been sent to him, in fact, on online mode, digital mode. Why he is not responding? Why is not he uploading signature? At somewhere down the line, you need to send one more email that you need to understand the needs of the customer even without interacting with the customer. Based on the artificial intelligence or even machine mode, in fact, whatever systems you have, your people are developing in the organization, you need to look at those options and then react in time, respond in time. And at the end of the day, whether Moorthy interacts with the customer or somebody, nobody is bothered today. The bank is whether it is having a concern or not. It is a come back to the customer, whether the bank has come back to the customer or not. Whether there is a reason for delay, if somebody is anxious to know or not. This is what the customer is interested in, isn't it? Physical interaction and all those things are gone days. In fact, it's not going to happen. How your mobile companies are interacting with you? No, they send a lot of messages. Maybe nuisance value also will be there. But at the end of the day, some same messages also you get across, isn't it? From your internet provider, from your mobile provider, from your Amazon shopping, all right messages are coming across, no? They know your spending pattern, in fact. They try to catch you at the right point of time. That sort of like a mechanical way of doing things also has to come in. Where at least we need to initiate those changes within our system where it is permitted. Just we cannot be helpless saying that I am not interacting with customers. How can I know that what is the customer expecting? You need to find out the mechanism, in fact. Which are the modes, which are the methods through which technology enables you. Trust me, today, I think the way we have been interacting with both of us, no, it is easy to call a customer 2 minutes and then over a video call and then talk to him also if it is warranted, really warranted. Isn't it? He may not come to you physically, but it's always available, isn't it? On real-time basis and online. With different modes, email, all communications. I think at the end of the day, whether it is machine communication or it is man communication, the communication with the customer and the organization is more important to create that real-time connectivity so that at least his expectations are met, in fact. And these enhancing expectations need to be understood by the organizations, whichever level you are working. At the end of the day, the moment you come to know about something, your enhancing expectation of your customer, you need to have that elbow space to pass it on to your right people in the organization also. People should have ears and eyes open, in fact. At the lowest level, somebody is telling something, I cannot turn a blind eye to that. That responsibility has to be there. If you want to really grow, if your anxiety is to make a difference to the customers. Isn't it?
So just
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Srinivas here. I'm from S Bank, the Senior Vice President.
Oh.
So being in private sector bank, we implement so many digital kind platforms and all for every kind of a transactions. It starts from a liability products to the assets, credit and everything. So what are the transformation we are talking about today on the digital is the entire knowledge implanted by the seniors like you all to the software, then where the development is happened. If you look at our era, I think we know the background of the banking and the digital transformation. But coming to the next generation of the banking, with the completed digitalization, any kind of a challenge in terms of banking transactions. So what kind of challenges we will face, because they don't know the background of the banking transaction ledger and all. So how it become a challenge to the proper banking? That's what I want to understand from you.
One thing which is, I think I am apprehensive of this fact. That's the reason I said I'll become more wiser at the end of the session. I am also having all these apprehensions at the back of the mind. But I know for sure that today, the loyalty factor which used to work with majority of the public sector bank may not be there, in fact. As long as customer will be loyal to me, as long as my services and products are apt to him. If some other bank is going to come out, or some other fintech company is going to come out with some more attractive product, I cannot expect the same level of loyalty, in fact. But I need to be there in the system, looking out for opportunity for me to increase also. The customer churning out process also has to be on a real-time basis. At the end of the day, I cannot survive without growth. Whether the Moorthy leaves his customer bank or not, Moorthy should step in. At the end of the day, isn't it? And most of the staff members are also not loyal to the organizations. If you look at, it's happening in the outside, isn't it? If I forget for a moment the banking, I think it is happening across organizations, isn't it? Whether it is software companies, hardware companies, or at least any mobile companies, everywhere, you are able to see the churn out of people, no? People will work as long as it suits you. And today, the largest problem in the IT sector is on account of when people were all so comfortable sitting at home, working from home, the moment they expected them to come to office to work, no? People say that, why should I come? I am not interested in coming. I am laying, I think you don't have to issue a pink slip to me. I am issuing a white slip to you. Take my resignation letter. That is the order of the day. This is the stage which we are in. In fact, this will make things more, everybody nimble-footed, in fact. At the end of the day, efficiency will rule other than anything else.
Sir, I have a
That's
question.
the reason I said in the beginning itself, what is constant is customer is going to be constant. Whether it is Ramurthy is a customer, Krishnamurthy is a customer, Govindraj is a customer, or Muhammad Bhai is a Patel. All those things are fine. But at the end of the day, you need to have customer. You need to live up to the enhancing expectations of the customer.
Sir,
then
I have a...
Just hold on. Please listen.
Please. Yeah. Carry on.
Sir, I have a question for you. Say, with advent of technology, with the information which is there with the younger generation nowadays, raising deposits becomes a challenge for banks. People would rather invest in equity or they invest in treasury bills and debt instruments than investing in, say, a bank in the form of deposits. Okay, they'll keep a little bit of amount for the liquidity purposes, but majority goes into any of the Zerodha app, and it's very easy to invest right now in any of these debt instruments or in equity. So raising deposits becomes tough. And in terms of the other side, payments like Google Pay, Paytm, they are ruling the market. Of course, they have their accounts they are channeling themselves, partnering with banks like HDFC, ICICI, SBI, banks like that. And in terms of lending, P2P has come into play, peer-to-peer lending. Small ticket cases, of course, not big loans, but small ticket cases are there. So when technology starts playing this role, do you think banks will become more of a platform than of an actual service provider? Do you feel that way in the future?
Banks will not become platform provider, in fact. At some point of time, I think India is a country much more diversified, in fact. All the entire 130 crore population is not almost within the age group of less than 25 or 35, isn't it? Still, we are left, your grandparents are there, your parents are there. I think still some people go to all those physical branches. They would like to talk to the branch manager. There are a good number of people who are drawing pension in the country. We need to differentiate the products for different set of customers, in fact. I think in India also, if you look at, the entire country can be divided largely into so many other countries as such. Number of network of branches, if you look at, I think whether it is, only thing is brick and mortar may not be more relevant in all the places, in fact. As you said, the challenge is going to be there. I think even in the past, no, all those salaried accounts, who was having a lot of balance in SB account? Nobody used to maintain. Everybody used to borrow. I think they used to spend somewhere else, in fact. At least fortunately today they are investing in mutual funds. In one form or other, it is reaching out the banking system only. If it is not there with Tamilnad Mercantile, it is going with the ICICI Bank, no? At the end of the day, what advances create deposit was the concept. Everything has got getting neutralized in the whole system, in fact. Individual banks may suffer. Individual banks may be, I think some banks may not be finding it difficult to mobilize CASA deposit and all those. That's the reason there is a dichotomy in the system also, no? The CASA advantage of HDFC Bank is not there with good number of private sector players today. Reason is simple, no? All those salary loans, all those initially they have taken advantage of embracing technology and putting up ATM machines, and there's all salary loan account. That's the reason HDFC and Axis Bank, the CASA ratio has been powerful. If at all somebody is going to be affected, these banks will be initially affected, no? The salary class is there with them. Absolutely, they will find the new ways of mopping up the deposits also. Instead of mobilizing from individuals, they will mobilize from, I think, institutions, in fact. The rules of the game, absolutely, they are all changing, in fact. That's the reason I said, at the end of the day, nothing is going to be constant. Everything is going to be so disruptively changing. We need to be nimble-footed. We need to find out alternate avenues. And fortunately, we are in India. It offers enough scope for everybody, every player, in fact. If business CASA is not coming in Mumbai, it will come in Calcutta. Only thing is we need to concentrate more in Calcutta for mobilizing CASA. If retail term deposit, if it is more not comfortable in South, you need to go to Gujarat and Maharashtra, in fact. I've seen across the country, and that's the reason. And there are a good number of the age group of people available, different set of people. Their expectations are different. We need to take that extra effort of understanding what the customer needs, who is my customer, and what is that I should do to live up to his expectation. That's what it is. As you said, temporarily, some banks, some branches may definitely undergo this stress also. But at the end of the day, these markets are all very dicey. Everybody, I think those guys who put money in mutual funds for the last 6 months, their NAV value, if you look at, they will be panicking, no? That's also there. Somebody burned their fingers, somebody burned their hands, I think somebody burned the whole body. I think they don't want to get into the act again one more, isn't it?
Sir, interesting question is Mr. Pankaj. Hold on, just a minute. Mr. Pankaj Kumar has put a very interesting thing. Sir, are we moving towards more banking with more technology and less bankers? So more technology, less bankers. One small example I will just I will share with all of you. MD sir, sorry for interrupting for 1 minute.
No.
One of my additional directors in IIBM has a fixed deposit with State Bank of India.
Okay.
Right. So he wanted the money after 6 months. He wanted to have premature closure of the fixed deposit. And he went to the bank, and the amount he got is less than the principal. Right.
How come?
Sir, I am just that is the question I am asking Pankaj. So he went to the bank. So how is that? I have put 1 lakh rupees. I am getting 98,000 rupees. What happened to my interest of 6 months? Then the young person, he is a recently promoted young energetic officer, told, sir, you see, he showed the system. We have gone to there, we have utilized the premature method. This is what is giving. This is system driven. He was not able to explain why this has happened. How a premature deposit will be calculated. It is happening behind the machine. Earlier we used to not. If deposit stays for 6 months, the interest rate for 6 months, minus 1%, whatever. That conceptual clarity, perhaps we have left it to the machine. And the TDS which is happening, right? So ultimately, it took my intervention to clear the air. So this is the question I leave it to all of you. Whether if we only no bankers, only technology, will we be able to serve the customers in a better way?
That's the reason.
Yes, sir.
Somebody else was asking, whether it is domain knowledge or at least, I think,
yes.
I think information, soft skills are important.
Soft skills are important.
Both are important. You need
Both
to empathize what the customer expects, and we need to respond. Take that extra effort. Walk that extra mile. I think without even minding whom you are talking to, for the sake of protecting the interests of the customer, you can talk to anybody, including the MD and CEO. Nothing wrong. Nobody should take us the other way, in fact.
Right.
Your anxiety is to address the issue, genuine issue of the customer. There should be a system in the organization that everybody should respond in a time-bound manner. In fact, that sensitiveness, if it is sets in, I think those organizations will only flourish. Yeah, please.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to solicit your views regarding toward digitization or use of technology towards the corporate lending to avoid the corporate fraud which we have seen in the recent past, sir.
Corporate lending, I think I am not yet to see some banker who says that I'll be system-driven while sanctioning corporate loans. In fact, as far as today's reality is concerned, it is more of retail loans and bits and pieces of MSME lending. Corporate lending, it has got because every corporate's requirements are different. Every corporate's timelines are different. Every corporate's cash flows are different. I think again, you cannot create a system-based lending or at least machine-based lending norms for corporates because individual requirements are different. In fact,
I agree with your views, sir. Before lending, we can't have a digitized sort of a system, but after lending, there must be some system to monitor what that for
yeah,
what.
That is possible. That is possible. That is possible. That is very much possible. That is the only way out to understand the customer, to monitor them, all those early warning signals about those accounts, these transactions. No, I think offsite monitoring technology has to come to our rescue to understand the customer and his need-based utilization, whether it is happening or not. That absolutely no manual way can really prevent those mishappenings as
is something happening in this.
But monitoring is concerned. Absolutely, system has to take advantage of the technological advancements.
May I submit that, sir, transaction monitoring is still going on for all the transactions, including the corporates.
Yeah.
Transaction monitoring, it is taking care. Yes, it is taking care. Yes.
But somewhere down the line, at least all the transactions need not be monitored and the threshold levels need to be kept. And then at some point of time where higher threshold levels, checks and balances by way of some manual verification also has to happen. In fact, if everything we leave it to the system, people are, I think, so sane to understand what the system can do, what the system cannot do, and then they will try to manipulate the systems also. I think in India, or at least in the entire world, law-breaking mechanism is more intelligent and more powerful than law-making.
So platforms like PSP loans in 59 minutes, like which is like onboarding the corporates as well.
I don't think, ma'am. I don't think. At least I don't belong to that set of bankers. No, I have not come across any promises on those lines.
That is a very interesting question, sir. You think? So this IT
company. One thing is that the definition of corporate itself is undergoing changes. Yes. Yeah, I know for sure that if at all there are definitions which are evolving, it is one MSME definition is evolving. I think if somebody says that more than 5 lakhs, more than 5 crores, more than 25 crores is a corporate, I think I'll be in a position to sanction a system-based sanction based on only the GST turnover and all. As far as to some extent, MSME is possible, not even mid-corporate for that matter, because everybody's even working in the same sector. No, everybody's requirements are different. The geographical is different, and then their customer base is different. Their cash cycles are different. I think I'll not be in a position to use the technology to broadly understand the customers and let the machine take a call on. Those things may not really work. I personally feel that way. Yeah, please, sir. You got something?
Yes, sir. Sir, may I ask a question for you, sir?
Please, please.
Yeah, basically, whenever in every forum we are talking about the digitalization, technology, other things, most of the executives and other parts, whether any forum, other things. But I think as far as concerned about the technology and digitalization, the security is one of the biggest threat for the India. Basically.
Very true, very true, very true.
And how we talk about this
in a milder version. I told in a milder version that cyber security related issues are there. In fact, anything on online is easy, 24/7. It's affordable. On the other side, flip side, it has got, I think, the threat always there, in fact. Unless we build in those robust checks and balances and then cybersecurity related issues, and we'll not be able to totally avoid, but only thing is we can prevent those things to a larger extent. The loss can be, damage can be minimized. And even if a customer is losing 50 rupees on account of the transactions which he has not initiated, he will lose the trust in the system. In fact, that's the problem. He's coming back to the system is not going to happen that fast.
Yes.
We need to be really aware of that, in fact. But these are the flip side of adopting the technology, in fact. Because coin has got always both two sides, no?
Yes. But in fact,
we have disadvantage, and we need to build up consciously before even rolling out to the customer. In fact, we need to ensure that the robust cyber security or this sort of issues are addressed before rolling out to customer. In fact, absolutely, something beyond that happens, I think we need to at least make amends to the customer. In fact, for no fault of him, if something is there, at least banks should be able to take that extra effort.
Grievances mechanism.
That has to be there. In fact,
it's a very interesting question from Mr. Bhaskar. What he says, banks are sharing a big chunk of their profits in development of IT systems and maintenance. IT companies are also developing BPO for back office function. Whether banks will be taken over by IT companies, and is that going to be the next biggest banking disruption?
That's what I said. No, disruption is not going to stop here. In fact, and that's the reason we call this as not a change management. It is a transformation. Transformation means it's a only thing is it's more holistic, more faster, and then we don't know what the end product is going to be, where we are going to land ourselves. That's the reason we call it as a transformation journey, isn't it? At no point of time, I or you, at least none of the participants understood that this is a transformation, is not a destination. Nobody can say that we have reached this destination. No, it's a journey. I don't know what the future is going to have in store for all of us. More challenges, more opportunities, more threats. Everything will be coming in a different dimensions as such. But at the end of the day, India is a country which offers scope for everybody. And even if some threats are going to be there, some opportunities will always be there. Some flip side will be there. Some brighter side always will be there. As I told, no, there cannot be much more gloomy situation post-corona. After that also, if you are spending so much of time on virtual mode, with so much of energy, if connecting people from different corners of the country, it says that this is a brighter side of the tsunami, no? Like corona. These changes also, technology also will bring in some challenges, and we should be able to overcome. And at the end of the day, those basic facts remain. We need to be, I think, alive to the situation. That's it. Whether it is soft skill, whether it is domain knowledge, whether it is taking up the issue of the customer, and then all those things. I think somebody says that yes, I may, if technology is going to be the use and the CASA will come down, yes, it will come down. We need to find out alternate ways of doing it, in fact. Mobilize more of institutional funds, concentrate. That's the reason a bank like, even somebody is from HDFC, I don't understand, but bank like HDFC is concentrating on semi-urban rural areas. Why? Because of these factors, no? They already started facing the heat now. I think enough competition in metro and urban areas is fine. But I think now they need to move to semi-urban and rural areas to increase their balance sheet size as such, at least for liabilities. When that merger is going to happen with HDFC Bank, no, they will have more challenges to meet the liability challenges as such. That's the reason they are preparing themselves today. Nobody is, I think, caught free from these challenges or even threats, in fact. The technology will affect everybody uniformly. That's the reason I said bigger the bank, bigger the organization, bigger the challenge. And bigger the team has to be there to handle these issues. Yeah. So, sir, thanks a lot, I think, for making me more wiser. As I expected that, I think at the end of the session, I feel more energetic, more younger, more wiser, in fact.
Moorthy, sir, there is a question put by Mr. Nitin Garg.
Nitin Garg, oh, come on. Yeah.
He is just asking, what is that specific skill which has taken you to the MD and CEO's position?
That you can only say no.
I will respond.
Who has seen me working for 3 years and who are a successor to me in Coimbatore regional office as a DGM. I think nobody else can vouch for my success, no. But there are some weaknesses which have taken me to this level. The weaknesses also you can say. I think I give the liberty of at least addressing.
I have seen a lot of strengths in you, but he is just asking you, what is that one specific skill? So can I have the liberty to tell that, sir?
Yes, please. Yes, absolutely fine, I think. I will not be in a position to supplement any of those things because you observed very closely from all quarters. 360-degree view of Moorthy you have.
I have been actually fortunate enough to work with you, sir. and take a lot of lessons for the life. So one important skill which Moorthy ji is having is acceptability of everybody. Whether whatever actually qualities he is having or not having, first of all, he accepts everybody and then tries to empower him, and so that he can do the miracles actually. This is what I have seen. So whatever is written in the books of the management, he practices it and everything. Whether it is a technical skill, whether it is a conceptual skill, whether it is whatever skill you name, this is one and foremost quality that he takes everybody along. And whosoever has worked with him, definitely he would have learned some or other thing in his association. So I think that has driven him from position to position, and ultimately he is now MD and CEO of a very good bank, actually, and a very old bank also. So, sir, I think according to me, this is the position.
Only one correct, one entire version is, I agree, endorse 100%. But for one condition that I think the last statement, no, I am heading 100-year young organization, not old organization.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. That is also actually transformational approach only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So nice.
So, any other questions?
Sir, I have posted 3 questions, sir. Right. Of course, I may be dragging sir's valuable time.
It's on Sunday.
Yeah. Sir, first question is related to, sir, what about especially it is related to the bulk CASA, sir. I mean to say whether the bulk CASA, the word is appropriate or not, I'm not sure. I mean to say like 200 crores, 300 crores mobilization of CASA, especially from the organizational accounts, funds accounts, etc. How this, our top line management of our public sector bank versus the strategies employed by the private sector top line executives. Is there any difference if it is there, because they are very successful in pocketing that 200, 300 to 500 crores of CASA in bulk?
I'll not be in a position to address your question a little more holistically, because though I'm working in a private sector organization, it is the DNA of the bank more in tune with the public sector bank only. As Prakash was mentioning, it is more 100-year young organization. In fact, I think our DNA is not much. But only thing is, I always believed as an operational banker, when a huge, as a bulk CASA or whatever it is, whatever name you call it, when 200 crores come into the system, I think we need to believe that the 200 crores will not come on its own. There must be some attached expectation also. And if 200 crores has come today, we need to be mentally prepared that it will go tomorrow. We need to build up the backup mechanism. If 200 crores is going away today, I need to make every effort to retain that as long as possible. If absolutely it is inevitable, by the time I need to understand how long it is going to take that to see that the 200 crores will go in next 1 week time. I need to see to it that another 200 crores is built up, if not in the same branch, at least in the same region, at least in the bank. We need to broad base this set of branches. We need to categorize those branches. Some customer may put the money on, especially CASA. You cannot pin it, the 100 customer, the 100 crores, 200 customer will be perennially depositing the 100 crores, 200 crores with you. That is not the purpose for which he has made money, not to keep the money in your CASA. He definitely will utilize that amount at some point of time. We need to be mentally prepared for that. And then the moment 200 crores come to the system, we need to devise some more mechanism to understand what is their expectation, when it will go. And we need to be mentally prepared to jack up some more amount from some other quarters. Otherwise, we mentally prepared to lose that amount. That's what it is. Whether it is private bank or public sector bank, no difference in fact. When a huge unexpected windfall comes, we need to be prepared for that. It will go off one day. Otherwise, it will remain at some point of time with some expectation. If we can meet up to that expectation, whether it is service, whether it is some charges, waiver and all those things, yes, we need to live up to that, isn't it? There are no slipshod methods of retaining those bulk deposits as such. Bulk is not, I think, is a prohibited terminology, whether it is CASA, whether it is deposit. If we are in need of deposit, yes, in whatever form, but only thing is ethical money has to be there in the system, that's all. In the name of CASA, we cannot left, right, center, we cannot float the rules and get across. This is what.
Thank you very much, sir. My second question is, sir, related to training systems, sir. Whether our public sector training systems, when compared to private sector training system? Are they having little edge over our public sector training systems?
I think this nimble-footedness by the private sector per se, whether it is living up to the expectation, embracing technology, or at least grooming people, because these are all private sector. When you see, all those new generation private sector who have been there in the system for the last 20 years, when the legacy issue has not been there, I think it is easy for them to train. And then hire fire policies have been there. At some point of time, our CEO was mentioning in the moment computerization was started in public sector banks, by way of ALPMs, there were practically trade union demonstrations, in fact. Reason is simple, misunderstanding the whole concept. Everybody thought that the moment machines are introduced, people will get underemployed. The trade unions have taken the in public sector banks. Maybe these are all the reasons why all those legacy issues still haunt public sector bank. If at all the required level refinement has not happened in training, then maybe thankfully in a smaller organizations like ours also, this corona time has really paved way for refining our training systems and modules also. Physical training when it is up, because staff shortage is one such thing. I nominate somebody and manager says that, sir, I got only 2 clerks. Out of that, if I relieve clerk for 1 week, how can I happen? How can I run the bank? All those issues are also there more in public sector bank. Even today that's happening. But all those things, some other way of doing things, imparting training or grooming people has come by way of this virtual media of late. This should help us at some point of time. If there are some inequalities were there in the public sector bank in training the people, now that for the last 3 years, powerful lessons, everybody learned, I think this should come handy for all of us. And then the cost effectiveness also is there. This virtual media of imparting training, I think that is a more and more cost effective, and at the same time, trainings are also more effective. This should be embraced, and then people are all willing to do that also. And then more than anything else, in public sector bank, the average age of the people, that was also one factor which was haunting long time. The way inputs are imbibed by Moorthy, when compared to the youngster, they are different in fact. Even if the same training is given, same inputs are given, my absorption rate will be lesser than youngsters, isn't it? That is also one factor which was haunting public sector banks per se. Sir, from your side.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sir, my final question is simple, sir, but it needs some logic. We want to enrich with your essence, sir. The question is, sir, most of the private sector banks, especially we can say HDFC and ICICI, they are generating quarterly profits, which is almost equal to our size public sector banks yearly profits.
That's the reason, no. I mean, initially I said, since I joined the bank, which was a Western-based bank, Gujarati-based bank, I was told that banking is business. Business is for profit. Most of the public sector banks per se, we still don't understand. We understand that it is almost a public service. Service means we should not expect anything. As long as we understand banking is business, business is for profit. Every transaction for the matter has to come, the amount of investment which you make in terms of whether manpower or at least whatever it is, something has to come in return, in fact. That profitability consciousness of the private sector banks is much more stronger when compared to public sector banks. Public sector banks, who is paying your salary? Government of India is paying your salary. Dharam ka kaam karna. No, this has been the thought process historically we have been carrying on. Maybe that's the reason we were not judged based on the profitability or the profits we generate from the system, in fact. Our performance parameters are not aligned to the profitability of the operations as such. Maybe that's the reason. And things are changing now. I think now everybody is being asked, even a smaller bank like Tamilnad Mercantile Bank also, we are asking every branch manager, when I say somebody says, what is, sir, my deposits? I am asking, what is CASA? What is your average cost of deposit? When somebody says, this is my advances, I am asking him, take out this bulk advances from your balance sheet and then tell me what is your MSME portfolio. What is your earning on that portfolio? What is your NPA level? This profitability consciousness has started coming in a big way, even in public sector banks. Maybe over a period of time only we can make a comparison. Yes, I think we need to take some lessons from them also. No? Nothing wrong.
Right. Sir, thank you very much, sir. Definitely, whenever I will take sessions, definitely your points will be put into sessions, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Yes, sir. We have done
In
justice for
private
this
sector,
session, it appears, no?
sir, in private sector banks, that there is an assessment of the employee. Sir, in private sector banks, there is an assessment of the employee performance.
Yeah.
If you take the case of one salesperson, if he is in a particular product, that for 3 months that they will test the output of the salary that they paid to that employee and the business generated, out of which the bank is how much it is going to get. If the return is less than that of the salary that were paying to him, simply that he will put on the PAP, performance improvement program. Within 3 months, he will be sent out. So the private sector bank, the very success of the private sector banking is happening in such a way, unless otherwise the maximum output that we draw from an employee, that they will not continue with that employee. That is the major reason for the very success of the private sector, sir, when compared to the public sector. It is one of the parameters.
It must be the reason, but I think at the end of the day, I believe in one concept again, no? Sorry for being little different. Organizations should take care of the aspirations of the staff members. Then only the staff members will be able to take care of the aspirations of the customers. Satisfied customers only will be taking care of the aspirations of the bank. This is what the concept which I have been brought in. Whether it is relevant today or irrelevant today, I think your future only will say that. By and large,
still relevant. Still relevant.
This is the concept which I have been pampered and I have been worked, in fact. Otherwise, you would not have seen Moorthy growing to this extent. For a man who born in South, in a bank like Bank of Baroda, reaching up to the level of ED and then working in overseas territories and all those things, no? I think I don't say that I have been pampered, but still, I think if the customers, staff members' aspirations are taken care by the organization, and the customers will be taken care definitely, and they will. Staff members and customers put together, they can take the organizations to better elevations. I cannot transaction to transaction if I start evaluating the perks of my staff members. I think somewhere down the line, even I will not be getting the rightful salary which I will be getting. Before even we need to point out, before pointing out finger at somebody else, we need to say that at least 4 fingers are being pointed out at us. Concept is satisfied employee will take care of the aspirations of the customers. In a service organizations, if the customers' aspirations are taken care, I think they will take care of the growth aspirations of the bank.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Mehta. I think
yes,
you have taken enough of his time.
Yeah, it was a full-fledged class actually on the transformation in banking. Sir, thank you so much. First of all, we are really privileged to have Moorthy sir today. And I have been listening to him for many occasions. And basically, I wanted to listen once more. And that is why I suggested our CEOs are also. And Ravita got in touch with your secretary. And ultimately, we got you, sir. So it is a very nice thing and a privilege for all of us. And it's a very rare occasion for all the participants to listen to you, sir. Because these occasions are not easily available. So, and the topic is of such a relevance and it is having so many dimensions. If we just include all these questions, I think it will become a whole subject matter of our day-to-day banking. So basically, when we talk about the transformation, as you rightly said, sir, transformation is having its unknown outcomes also, for which we have to be ready. So it may disrupt our entire thinking process, entire working, the organizational culture, and everything has to be changed accordingly. So basically, whenever we talk about transformation, whether it is in the technology or whether it is in the any external environment, normally we talk about those external factors only, but we never actually look inward that what kind of transformation is required in our own mindset to look at the things differently. And then we have to find out, we cannot stick to our traditional ways of working. That is the main thing. And these are the main confusions in the minds of most of our bankers as to how to take care of these changing things. So first of all, we have to have full knowledge about our subject matter, about our job, and what changes are happening in the market, in what way they are going to affect our business. So if we are continuously looking at it and keeping in touch with these changes, only then we can find out ways to handle it, number one. And number two is that customer, as you rightly said, sir, is the focus. lifestyle is changing. Their consumption patterns are changing. Even the companies which were never related to the banks like Amazon, Google and all, they are providing so much of data and material to the banking industry also, through which we can know our customers in a better way. The social media, so their likes, dislikes, their behavioral patterns, data analytics, all those is going to play a very major role in deciding our marketing campaigns, our strategy to do the business. So parallelly, whatever changes are happening externally, we have to keep on changing ourselves internally. Only then we'll be able to match up with that expectation level of the customers. So this is a very relevant topic, sir, delivered by you. We are very much grateful to you for sparing your time, valuable time with us, sir. And I am also thankful to CEO, sir, that he has also simultaneously interacted and clarified so many points. It was a very learning actually lesson for all of us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Malhotraji. That's it. It was my pleasure as well. I think I felt younger. I'm feeling younger. I'm feeling more wiser. And thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity again.
Thank you, sir. Thank
you,
you.
sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, 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 sir. Thank you, sir.